All right, welcome to the den, everyone. Today we have a special guest here in John Kapler. He's a fellow YouTuber of Lions football, and we're going to be kind of talking Lions football. This is a way of celebrating me getting 100 subscribers, and also just because I thought it'd be fun to have this guy on. We will have another guy named Rams House be joining us soon. Hopefully, but for now it's just me and John right now, and yeah, I guess we'll say hello to everyone. What up? Welcome to the Den One Pride. I'm I'm doing pretty good. How about you? What about you,
What's
John?
going on, guys? I'm doing great, man. I'm here. I've been pumped
Yeah,
about this for a minute. Thank you so much for having me on.
you're welcome, sir. Well, pretty good, sir. What up, Dosey Perry? Glad you're excited. One Pride 40, and I don't know where Ram's house is. He's supposed to be here. Um, I messaged him. He said he was going to be on, and he should be joining us soon, ladies and gents. But I don't know. Maybe something's happening that I'm not aware of. So for now, it's just me and John. Hopefully, Ram's house will be joining us. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
I don't. I don't know. He's definitely one of the guys who's one of the reasons I like golf. So I was hoping to bring him on.
Yeah, you said he was one of the guys who was really knowledgeable about him, right?
Oh yeah, he's the guy who kind of I jokingly say converted me to Jared Goffism because he that man that guy like got me down to the bone. I used to be a super big hater on Jared Goff. I was like he's a bridge QB at best and he's a means to an end. But that man just got me in complete flip that view of me on him. I mean, I'm not 100% sold on him, I guess, but I definitely think that there's
Okay.
good reasons to say.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see. I just noticed someone was asking about my record prediction. I don't know. I want to see what they do, but as I've said in some of my other videos, I don't see us doing worse than we did before. So record prediction: 6 wins. 6 wins to 8 wins, I'll say,
Mm. Yeah, I'm
and
honestly that's
prove it
fair
from
state
there.
prediction. And my biggest thing is we just have to expect them to be competitive. Nothing like the Patricia era is my
Yeah,
thing. Close games, not stupid penalties killing us. Like nothing bad. I want people to look like they're still motivated. I think a perfect example of what I think the Lions we will need them to do is kind of like what the Giants had of Joe Judge last year. Like those guys like fought till the end.
yeah.
So
And I mean, winning doesn't necessarily for this new team mean wins and losses. Improvements
mhm,
on the field. Who's doing what? Are we getting chemistry on offense and defense? That's winning to me, especially with this new system. Doesn't all got to be wins and losses this year.
mhm. So next would be is what's on the agenda for today. We're just going to be kind of like talking about football. Maybe talk about how everyone's thoughts are on OTAs and mini camp. We're gonna just be kind of talking about like whatever else you guys want, and maybe whatever John wants to talk about, or I, or maybe even Rams house. It's just it's just a good old fun talking Lions football, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, whatever anybody wants to talk about Lions related, I'm good. If it's 2021 or if it's something from 1995, I will talk it to the best of my ability. So whatever you guys want to talk about Lions related.
Yeah. All right. So next one, Pride 40 has a little bit of a question for us. Uh oh.
Oof.
It got changed to here. You answer this. I gotta talk to Rams house.
if he would have been, I'm a little bit confused on how would you have been if we. Oh, if we got, I would not have been happy. Like, no, would not been happy at all. I mean, what about you? What about other people in the comment section? I mean, what would y'all have thought of having Trubisky as our quarterback? I mean, I call him something that I can't say on here. We kind of switch up some letters, but yeah, I don't think he's a good quarterback. I would have not been happy.
I'm just gonna talk to Rab's house for a second. I guess you can kind of talk to the comment people
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
go
I'll
for
be
it.
back in a second.
Okay, sounds good, man. All right, comment section. What is going on? Not impressed with budget. Fine. Which one do you want? About the Michael Brockers comment. I like it. There's some people who don't like it. I won't name names of YouTubers, but there's one in general who didn't like it. And my thought on the comment is good. That shows confidence. I don't want a player coming in here just being like, "Oh, I'm a lion. I'm gonna lose. I'm just here so I don't get fined," sort of thing. No, have confidence. Good. That's great. I like that Michael Brockers said what he said. I mean, why wouldn't he want that? He was a Ram, and they got rid of him for a seventh round pick. I would be a little insulted, I guess, if I was Michael Brockers as a player, and I'd want to go after that guy. I mean, that was just our quarterback. It's kind of a swip swap of players. So good for Brockers. I like that. Uh, I don't know. Trubisky played pretty decent at Ford. Yeah, Trubisky was good at Ford Field. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's a scheme, maybe it's dumb luck with the Lions. But yeah, no, Trubisky definitely did great with against us.
To our turn of dismay on that one, I will say.
C. Perry, do you think the Lions make the wild card? If not, who beats us out for it? I don't know. Actually, there's a video I'm gonna do later on. Of teams going, not necessarily worst to first, but making big turnarounds. Everyone in the national media saying we're going to suck this year. Why are we going to suck? Why can't we get to the playoffs? There's been a lot of other teams. There's been like 20 plus teams that have had bad seasons and turned it around. The number one team being the 1999 St. Louis Rams. They had 4 wins in 98, and then they went and won the Super Bowl the next year. So why can't the Lions? Just because we're the Detroit Lions? Um, I don't, I don't know. I don't see us getting to the playoffs, but like I just said in that comment, we could. Anything is possible. I really like what they're doing. What do you think?
I like what we're doing, but I do not think we're quite yet going to be a year one playoff team. For one, I think maybe with a veteran coach, maybe. But the big thing is, we got a rookie head coach of a rookie defensive coordinator. Yes, we got ourselves an experienced staff, but that's going to lead to growing pains no matter who you are. Um, and you just got some stuff that you have to be that they're going to have to go through, and also there's the concerns of our defense, how much improve our defense will be. I mean, we were like one of the statistically one of the worst defenses in NFL history. How much can that be
Yeah,
improved with a rookie defensive coordinator? So I don't know. I think we're kind of going to be like competitive, but you know,
yeah,
I don't
I'm
know,
with
man.
you on that.
I
It's
don't know
it's
what
hard to say.
pride.
Anything can happen, but I mean, and injuries too. Look at our defense. Injuries. We haven't even started the season, and one of my dudes, Austin Bryan, is already hurt. Now it's a minor injury, but still, it's an injury. So, oh, I'm not holding my breath.
Okay, so
Ooh, I
one
saw
pride
something
I
about
have.
Logan Stenberg.
Yeah, he's at the bottom actually. So
Okay.
we're trying to get him on, but there's a miscommunication. I turns out I mixed up time zones. So I'm a mountain time zone guy, so I kind of mixed up on what central and eastern was for everyone. I tried to figure that out, so it's just time zone things. So I hope I can fix that for you guys. Sorry, but all right. So I guess here's the next
There's
question.
so much in here. Do you think?
Yeah. Do you think an
Ooh,
undrafted receiver makes the roster this year? I guess I think one does. My
Yeah.
biggest reasoning for that is we really don't have anyone outside of uh, Williams to Cephas. Maybe Geronimo Allison, but I'm not really impressed at all with Geronimo Allison.
Nah.
And
Same here.
I think like John Adams Jr., Say Charette, and Javon McKinley all have way higher potentials. Especially John Adams Jr. John Adams Jr.
Yeah.
has like a
Yes.
lot of like traits that I really like personally.
Yeah. Dude's big too, isn't he? Like 6'4".
I think something.
Or
He's a
six
tall
three,
guy.
6'4", and he can get up and get the ball from what I saw from his college highlights. Like he is the
Well, he
one
has long
UDFA
arms.
wide receiver I really want. I think if he can come into his own, I think
Mhm.
I think him and Cephas can compete.
All right, so Ramtel should join in just about a second.
Sweet. I see one in the comments. Do you think Logan Stenberg can start in the future and have an impact? Ooh, I hope so.
That if Big V doesn't do anything for sure, oh man, I actually liked Logan Stenberg more than I liked Joe Jackson during the draft
Yeah.
process.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Looking at those highlights, yeah.
oh yeah, he's a fantastic player. He's a mauler. He has a mentality, and right now he's showing versatility. He practiced a lot at center during camp last year. He's he's practiced at left guard and right guard, so he's showing that he's versatile and getting stuff done. I love that. I like that he's working. So
And
I
one of
think
his
he.
highlights last year from Kentucky, I'm pretty sure he was one of the guys who like took someone and took him out of bounds to the sideline. Like had his hands on him the whole time and just put him out on his butt, if I remember correctly.
There he is.
Hey, here he comes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm on my way home from the store, so I'll have to
Yeah.
talk on my cell phone until I get home on my computer.
It's all
All
good.
right. Sorry, man. That was a mix up on my part. I mixed up time zones.
It's all right. What are we talking about?
Currently Logan Stenberg, but we kind of just finished that. Ironically, there is a Goff thing that was just brought up by one Pride 40 that I missed. He says, I don't understand why they treat Goff like he's, I assume, Bortles or Trubisky. I don't know. Unless there's a quarterback named Bottles that I don't know. So,
I mean, the reality is that McVay's the hottest thing in the NFL, and they've all acted like it in the media. So either they look like fools, or they degrade Goff, and they do this all the time with all kinds of players. And it's easy to do with Goff because of his rookie season and stuff like that. But it's it is what it is. There's no getting around it for now. But the media does this stuff constantly. I mean, they talk bad about it. I mean, Stafford was basically a no-win quarterback until he got to the Rams. Now he's a Super Bowl contending quarterback. It's nuts.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he's on the top 100 already, and Jared Goff isn't. I mean, they haven't dropped it, but they put the names. That's a perfect example. What Rams House just said. You switch teams and you go from being good to, being crap.
Well, Stafford used to be an underrated quarterback heavily. Like, I don't think he ever made the top 100 from my recent memory until he went to the
did.
Rams. Like,
I think one time I forget.
was it 2019? That's the only reasonable time, in my opinion. But he was hurt.
Yeah, I believe so. And I don't get why, because he was hurt. So I don't get how you get on the top 100 with being hurt, missing games. But I mean, popularity contest, from what I know.
Sure. All right, next thing. You can tell how bad the Rams have gotten after losing Holmes and Agnew. Just look at their draft. Oof.
Don't even get me started, man. I was actually talking when you were trying to call me on Discord. I was talking to one of my good Rams fan buddies, and we share a lot of the same worries. I mean, the draft didn't go well at all. I mean, you look at just as a prime example, right? Everyone is saying the Rams are Super Bowl contenders. Well, the best example we have of a Super Bowl contending team is the Chiefs, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers brought their entire roster back, so they're not really good to talk about as far as roster building and changes and stuff. But the Chiefs, they lost in the Super Bowl. They're every bit of a Super Bowl contending team. And they identified their weakness, which was pressure up the middle. What do? They went out and drafted Creed Humphrey. They basically revamped their entire O-line so that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have what happened to him in the last Super Bowl happen again. That's what a good front office and a good coaching staff does. They, especially one that's quote unquote competing for a Super Bowl. They went out and took care of their guy. They took care of their team, and they made the right moves to fix problem issues. And the Rams go out and they draft a 150-pound wide receiver in the second round with their first pick in the draft when we have a pretty good receiving core already. It's nonsensical. It really, really makes no sense whatsoever. And then we still had a chance for, I want to say, Quinn Miners in the third round, and then we passed on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had two good opportunities. Not to mention, by the way, that the Rams could have traded scraps for Rodney Hudson, for example. Like, we made the Stafford trade saying, oh, we have to win now. But then all the moves that we made in the offseason were the opposite of win now moves. Did the Rams make a move for Julio Jones? No, they didn't. I mean, you're talking about this is going to be the first time in Stafford's entire career he doesn't have a big-bodied contested catch receiver. He went straight from Calvin Johnson to Kenny Golladay.
True.
We have,
true.
Dude, I'm telling you, you can count on one hand how many contested catches guys like Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp get a season. It doesn't happen often. They've made a couple highlight ones, but it's never been something they've done a lot. Tyler Higbee, pretty good tight end, not very good at contested catches. It's, between our, and if we want to talk about, issues that the Rams are going to have or potentially have, I was just talking with my buddy about it. We didn't show up to the inside. So what happens is we have Austin Corbett, who we traded. He was a first-round pick in 2017, I think, 2018 with the Browns. They drafted him as a center. He played so bad at center that the Browns traded him to us for basically nothing. A first-round pick 2 years ago, we got him for virtually nothing. And we moved him to guard, and he played really well at guard. Okay, and then this offseason, we lost our center, Austin Blythe, and we're moving Corbett to the spot where he's been a miserable failure at, expecting him to be good. Then we took our right tackle, Bobby Evans, who was very good at right tackle when he played in time when Rob Havenstein was hurt in 2019. And we're moving into right guard. He's played right guard several times. He's been bad at it every single time. Another red flag that we're dealing with. And then we're going to be moving our right guard, David Edwards, who was very good last year at right guard. I mean, relatively speaking, as far as our kind of wishy-washy offensive line goes, he was serviceable right guard. We're moving him to the left side. We are counting all of our marbles on Andrew Whitworth, who is going to be 40 during this NFL season.
Really? He's going to be 40?
Yes, he's going to be 40. It's one of the most miraculous offensive line stories in NFL history. But guess what? All these miraculous NFL history stories are going to go bad at some point. Someday, Tom Brady's going to start sucking. Like, Father Time catches up to everyone, right? So, you want to know what happened last year with our offensive line? I've showed you guys the stats of how we went from top 3 O-line to bottom 3 O-line. Guess what happened? Game 7, Andrew Whitworth got hurt. He was only out a few games, but when he came back, he wasn't fully healthy. He was still kind of dealing with that injury, and our O-line never recovered. You're telling me you're banking on a 40-year-old quarterback staying healthy for the rest of the year for an entire 17-game season? I'm not banking on that. It makes no sense. And then Rob Havenstein was okay in 2020, but he was one of the worst rated right tackles in football in 2019. Is he going to stay great, or is he going to revert back to 2019? I mean, there's just question mark after question mark, and we did nothing to address any of these problems. The Cardinals got Rodney Hudson, best center in the league. Probably not next year because Frank is obviously on the way up and Rodney's on the way down. But currently the best center in the league, they got him for a third or fourth round pick for peanuts.
It's just interesting about the fact that they did that. I mean, especially because they also drafted Ernest Jones in the third. I liked him as a run stuffer a bit, but I don't really think that was your biggest need. I thought you guys should have gone for O-line. And even drafting, I think, who'd you draft in the fourth? Was it Caleb Davis or something? I don't remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head while I'm driving, but we drafted Jacob Harris in the fifth, I think, and Rams fans are expecting him to be the next Megatron, which is insanity. I'm dealing with a pretty crazy fan base right now, guys. The Rams fans have gone bananas. They can't keep, and they really think this. I mean, Jacob Harris, first of all, he's athletic, He's not as athletic as Megatron. So he's already behind the eight ball on Megatron as far as athleticism. He ran like a 4.4, a pro day 4.4, not a combine 4.4 at 6'5". He's pretty. He got a good vertical and everything like that. I don't think his vertical was quite as high as Megatron's. I'll have to double check. But he also has been playing football for 2 years. He was a freaking, I don't know. I think he was a basketball. No, he wasn't even a basketball player. He was a soccer player. So he didn't even have like the experience of constantly catching balls with his hands. Like he was a soccer player. He's not allowed to touch the freaking ball in soccer. And he didn't start playing. I mean, he was a soccer player for the first 2 years in college. He's only played football for 2 years, let alone the tight end position, which is one of the most
You still there? You went silent all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Nothing that the Rams did this offseason made any sense.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. Maybe some max wins for Lions. Max wins, I think, is 10. I mean, I really don't think we're that elite of a team yet. No matter how good our coaching is, I think we still got some pieces that we got to figure out before we get past the 10-win mark. I mean, who knows what happens there? What's your
Max
thoughts, John?
wins.
Oh
I'm
man,
gonna go
Ramsey's
with
gone.
8, just because our schedule. I said something in a video I posted. Our schedule and chemistry are the number one things that are going to possibly give us problems. This is a first year team almost. You've got some pieces coming back, but you got new pieces. You got new coaches, which from everything from draft, free agency, our training camp, our coaching staff, our players love, fans are really loving. So I have hope in that, but it's got to come together. So I'm gonna say 8 at max.
John, do you prefer Slater or Sewell?
Oh, I said that down in the comments. Sewell all day. I wanted Sewell. Um, at first, it kind of went back and forth because Slater does have versatility, and Sewell hadn't had versatility since high school, switching back and forth, and Slater just seemed like you could put him wherever to where Sewell was just a tackle, but that's what we need at right tackle is just a tackle. But Sewell, yeah, without a doubt, it's what we got. I mean, if you saw TikTok video or YouTube video, I went nuts. Like when he fell, I couldn't believe it. Like when does that ever happen to the Detroit Lions? The person that I can't speak for all the fans, but a good majority of the fans I think wanted Sewell. So Sewell all day. I
I
actually
was
have
pretty
jerseys coming of him, so that's how much on the Sewell train I am.
wow. It's bold.
Not
I would.
golf, Sewell.
That's true. That's very bold, man. I was also a Sewell guy. I mean, I liked Slater, but I thought he honestly got vastly overrated. I think people just saw the Chase Young and the versatility, and they thought, okay, this guy's going to be elite. But the guy didn't have the power that Sewell had, nor did he have the, in my opinion, the Mauler mentality that Sewell had. My biggest thing with him is he also had small arms, small height, small weight. He had a lot of concerns for me that made me go, I don't know how those translate to the NFL level. Yes, he did shut down Chase Young, but Chase Young did not have a lot of pass rush moves in college as well that he does now in the NFL. So I wasn't, and I just don't think one game should determine everything. And so I wasn't as invested to Slater as I was Sewell. I liked Slater; he had some really good games, but I was more of a Sewell guy myself.
I mean, I think didn't they both kind of similarly have the same length and arms almost by like an
Yeah,
inch, half an
I
inch?
think they had. That's actually the one thing that they actually had a similar thing. Sewell had the height and he had the weight, but
Yeah,
the
and the
rest
power
went.
to go along with
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought Stenberg was a mauler, but he didn't get any playing time, so the coaches must not liked him. No, simply it was the fact that there was veterans ahead of Stenberg. You had Ode Obushi, who was playing well last season, and then you also had Big V moving in and out. And another thing is Stenberg kind of was hurt in and out of it. I do remember him being on the injury report a lot of times. I don't know. And also, he was a rookie. He was always seen as developmental. I think people forget that Logan Stenberg barely did any pass blocking in Kentucky. That
Yeah,
they
he
were
was
run heavy.
Mauler
Yeah,
for a reason, because you
yeah,
do your mauling in the run game, and that's what he was doing. And Jonah
mm.
Jackson, is uh, passing
Pass, yeah.
guard. So, and that's where we needed him to fit in, was pass protection, because Stafford, 2 broken backs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back, guys.
Do you think? Oh, welcome back, Rams House. Do you think I think he's saying, do you think Jared Goff can pick up this offense up quickly? Because that's what I think is going to hamper us at the beginning of the year. I think he can. So long as some of the players stay healthy, such as Tyrell Williams. I think Tyrell Williams is a really big part in the healthy game.
Tyrell Williams is a huge part in that.
Yeah, that's a big one. Him and TJ Hawkinson. Those are kind of the main guys I think is going to really matter for Goff being able to pick it up.
Chemistry for that one. That's going to be chemistry. They got to get it together and get it quick. It might take, the first 4 games, possibly to 6, and then we roll to the end of the year. That's why I'm giving them, an upside of 8 wins. But if they can get it together quickly, Goff will be good.
Well, and TJ Hawkinson sounded like he did great during camp. I actually heard he just dominated with Goff and all that.
Oh, I'm waiting to see his pictures of him, because last year he was just an absolute beast, like physical wise. Like, he came in from college, little pudgy, whatever, and then he worked with his buddy from Iowa, the tight end that plays for, I can't think of who it is. They worked out, and Hawk got ripped last year. I can't imagine what he looks like now.
Yeah, that's one of the ironies about TJ. Is TJ was he was basically only a blocking tight end in college. Noah Fant was actually the receiving tight end for that team, but TJ was so darn good in the intermediate game, in the short game, that they just kept throwing to him, and they became a two tight end system. But TJ is a beast. And one of the funny things about TJ was he was on Good. You guys see the thing when he was on Good Football Morning or whatever, or Good Morning Football, when he was talking.
Yeah, Good Morning Football.
Yeah, and people are like, it's just teammates speak, it's coach speaks. What's funny is it's not teammates speak. Like, he could have gone on there and been like, dude, I've worked out with Jared. He's a good guy. He's looking sharp. I'm really enjoying playing with him. I think we're going to do well together. There's a lot of speak that you can make about your teammates. Saying, dude, Jared Goff's mentality is on another level. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Like, the stuff that he said went far beyond like teammate speak. Like, you know what I'm saying? People want to chalk it up to just him trying to be nice to his new QB, but it seemed like it went far beyond that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, especially since how well he did in camp too. I think he had like a couple bad plays from what I heard. Not really that. He had more positive plays than negative.
Oh yeah.
Do you think we sign a free agent safety before the season starts, or do we go if we have? So far, it looks like we go with what we have. I don't think we've brought in a safety for a visit. If there is one, I think it's probably going to be Kenny Vaccaro, because he just has that familiarity of Aaron Glenn and Campbell. But other than that, I don't really think so. I think we're going to move forward with Will Harris.
I think quite a bit, to be honest.
I think they want to see what they have, in my opinion.
I personally would have liked to bring in someone like Vaccaro, because I think he's a good safety. But Will Harris has shown promise before, and Tracy Walker especially. And it sounds like Will Harris and Tracy Walker actually did pretty good in mini camp. So I heard Will Harris picked off Goff. So at least maybe there's some promise at the safety position.
Well, and you guys Lions fans got to remember too. Who was our coach last year? Who was our coaching staff last year? Like, those guys are garbage. Knew nothing about football. At least from what it seems, they knew about rockets and NASA and stuff like that, and how to try and be a Bill Belichick wannabe.
Well,
you've got a brand new scheme, brand new coaches. Everyone's motivated, so it changes players' outlooks and what they're going to do. I mean, if you're working for a boss who you don't like and you're just depressed about it, you get a new boss that you're hype about, your abilities go through the roof. So these guys could be very skilled, but they were just coached down.
True. What's your thoughts, Rams House?
I mean, it's pretty. I think most people have gone through bosses that were good and bosses that were bad, and been able to see the difference and what the quality of bosses can do to your mood and your productivity. I've been involved in several situations like that, and I mean, this time last year, the reports coming out of camp were all horrible. The Lions situation was not looking good. No one wanted to be there. Multiple people wanted to leave the team. It wasn't good at all. And now you got guys like Okuda and Goff and other people who've been with the team longer, who are literally like, Okuda's like entire offseason statements can be boiled down to one thing. He's basically saying, I didn't know I was allowed to talk to my coaches. Like, it was almost like it was a one-way conversation with the coach at all times. And, Jared's doing the same thing where he's like, communication's great. Michael Brocker said Aaron Glenn's the best communicator he's ever had. There's a lot of that stuff. And when anyone in any kind of job can understand how useful and productive that. I mean, I don't care if you're stocking produce at a grocery store. Hearing someone, having a boss come up to you and be like, hey, I want it done X, Y, and Z, and then being able to listen to feedback and work as a unit, because ownership is a big deal, is a totally different story than just someone going, put the produce away, just get it done. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if you've never put produce away, how the hell are you supposed to know what to do?
Yeah.
From the ground up, that stuff is so necessary.
For sure.
Yeah, if you're working for someone you don't like, you don't care. You don't care what gets done. You don't care if you're winning, you're losing. But if you got someone you like they've been saying, you're going to run through a wall. You're going to be, how can I get this produce done faster?
Mm-hmm. Well, and also it's just how leadership goes. It's one thing that maybe you don't know what to do, but when a boss's motivation gets people to like want to do things, it's kind of like how it goes in training of anything. It's like having a gym coach. That person inspires you, tells you keep going, keep working, or keep trying for that one last rep or whatever that you're doing. It motivates you to keep doing that. But instead, if you have a coach saying, "No, you're weak. Come on, you are such a weak person. How could you not do that final rep or whatever?" And no, you're probably going to feel a lot less motivated.
Not to mention the hands-on approach that we've been hearing about from minicamp the whole time. There's quick story. I worked for a pretty large company in the United States. I was a regional district trainer for said company. And I have actually trained people for a living for a large portion of my life. There's a huge difference when you're able to, where you're like, hey, okay, I want you to sell this, go. And being able to tell them, hey, I want you to sell this, and these are some of the best ways to get that done. We've been hearing all offseason, all minicamp about how the coaches are hands-on, and they're getting in there and they're showing how to do things, and they're going all the way through that training process rather than just saying, hey, I want you to do this, now get it done. I'm giving you no instructions. The reality is on the second hand of that, which is because that's an awesome part, is it's so crappy to hold someone accountable to something when you haven't really made what you want known and how you want it done known. You know what I'm saying? So like which we've heard a lot about that. Jeff Okuda is kind of the prime example where there's like, Jeff, go do this. And then he fails at it. And you're like, Jeff, you screwed it up. You didn't get it done right. And you're like, you didn't relate to him your expectations and how you wanted it done. Because if he's not doing what you want and you're not telling him what you want, then you're failing as a leader. Jeff isn't failing as a cornerback. And we've been in all the stories we've been hearing about the Lions teams, that's what they were dealing with the last 3 years with Patricia, however long it's been like an eternal nightmare. That they were dealing with that kind of garbage nonstop. If people, I don't know about everyone, but I've been on both ends, the training end and the being trained end. And when someone doesn't tell you what they're looking for, you never know what you got to do to please them. And it's a miserable experience. There's no growth happening there.
100%.
No, none at all. I've been in those situations too. And that is the God's honest truth. If they're just telling you to do something and you've never done it before or you're not familiar, you're going to perform horribly. Like, you have to be shown. You can't just be told what to do.
Right.
For sure. Next question is, Rams house, do you feel better with Goff or Stafford?
It depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about 2021, I feel better with Matthew Stafford because I know what Matthew Stafford brings to the table. If we're talking about 2022, I'd bet my money on Jared Goff.
Because
the reality is we don't know what Jared's going to bring to the table next year, right? Because we know Jared's had 2 good years. He's had 2 bad years. In my opinion, the data shows that Sean McVay had a lot to do with what held Jared Goff back, but there was a lot of Jared Goff that held Jared Goff back. Jared Goff has his own issues. Like I've been telling you, everyone wants to continue kind of act like I'm just Jared Goff's hype man. I've been saying it all along. Jared Goff has plenty of issues, But guess what? So did every other pocket quarterback under 26. These are issues that quarterbacks had to grow out of. We talk about Jared struggles under pressure. You know who sucked under pressure when he was under 26 years old? Matt Stafford did. And even though Matt Stafford's good at it now, he had to learn how to do it. So, you're talking about Matt Stafford's not old. He's only 33. He's not super old for a quarterback. They're playing into their 40 now pretty regularly. But he's had some pretty scary injuries, the back injury, some of these injuries, which, have in the past proven to be able to be lingering injuries. And, man, that O-line looks like it could be bad. So you're talking about Jared Goff behind what could be an elite O-line and Matthew Stafford behind a porous O-line. I'm going to take Jared Goff's future over Matthew Stafford's.
Same, bro.
Yeah, if Stafford gets hurt with that Rams O-line,
we're
the
done.
Lions are going to have a nice pick because I don't know. Maybe you can tell me, Rams House, who is the Rams backup? What is he going to do if Stafford gets his back broken again?
If you ask your standard – so remember we were talking about how delusional the Rams fan base is right now? This is not a joke. When Jared Goff hurt his hand last year and people were sick of Jared Goff because it's all his fault, we brought in our backup, John Wolford, who's an undrafted free agent. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, I remember that name.
People were saying he was going to be the next Kurt Warner. I am not joking with you. People were thoroughly convinced of that.
Oh, I remember that. Yep.
So our 5th round soccer player tight end is the next Megatron, and our undrafted free agent rookie quarterback who's 6'1" and struggled in his only game he's ever played in against one of the worst defenses in football is going to be the next Kurt Warner, just so you guys are aware. That's the future of the Rams.
I like it. The next Kurt Warner. Hey, 99, they won the Super Bowl, and in 98, they had 4 games won, so.
Yeah, I was just talking to my buddy, too. This is probably a different question, but the Lions are just looking like a team that's going to rebound. It's like no one wants to say my team is going to go from worst to first, but every season that happens without fail. It always happens. And what are the telltale signs of a team that goes from worst to first? There's generally a couple of big things. A massive coaching overswing from a really bad staff to a really good staff. And the second thing is generally fixing the trenches. It's always those two things. I mean, look at the Rams is a good example. We didn't change quarterbacks. We didn't change a lot of stuff. We had the same running back. We had some new receivers, but they weren't anyone special. We overhauled the offensive line. We brought in 2 new starters at left tackle and center, which is arguably the 2 most important positions on the offensive line. We had a new coaching staff, and our whole existence changed. Simple as that.
Well, and also, and a good example of what you said for trenches is the San Francisco 49ers. They had Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, I think Solomon Thomas and D Ford. They had those trenches. They
also drafted Mike McGlinchey, who was really good at right tackle. They still had Joe Thomas killing it at left tackle. They signed Winston Richburg from the New York Giants, who was pretty good but having some concussion issues. They addressed the O-line, they addressed the D-line, and they had some overhaul in their coaching, and they had a big turnaround.
Yep. I wonder who that is. Curious.
Who are you wondering about?
Yeah. Oh, just who? I wonder who that could possibly be.
Oh.
I'll tell you real quick, just on that point, real quick. I told you guys I've been watching a lot of film on the Lions.
There he is.
That's all I've been doing all off season, and watching Lions film because it's too depressing to go watch a 170-foot receiver for hours. I watched a lot of film on Sewell, and he might be one of the most complete offensive line prospects I've seen in a long time because he has flashes of power. He has flashes of not flashes. He consistently showed his speed and his agility. A lot of offensive linemen are either power based or agility based. That dude has a good solid base of both. He's a big dude, and he has a bit of a mean streak with him. Really his film is really impressive. One of my favorite ones was his game against Auburn, where he went against 3 different guys who were drafted the next year One of them in the first round, I think, is Derek Brown. And he handled them with ease. It wasn't really he didn't really struggle at all. Sewell's film is phenomenal. I didn't watch a lot of it before the draft because the Rams are not going to pick anywhere that high. I was looking mostly at interior alignment. Man, Sewell, you guys might have gotten a really good player for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad about it, honestly. The biggest thing that is so nice about Sewell is he's also like he's into it. For example, a guy who I think was kind of like, the size monster. He had everything, was Greg Robinson, ironically also a Rams player, but he didn't have that motivation, in my opinion, to be good like Sewell has lately. And I think that's going to lead to a successful right tackle. And I think also we have a good line coach, good mentors for him. We have Taylor Decker in there, and even a veteran like Tyrell Crosby. We got two good vets in there to teach him how to play good tackle spots. So I'm excited.
There was a lot more wrong with Greg Robinson than that, to be honest. But
I think that's just a difference, though.
Yeah, his offensive system was incredibly limited, so that hurt him. And in college, and it hurt him. He never made adjustments. But yep.
All right. Well, we got 17 people in the chat, and I'm only seeing 8 thumbs up. So if we can get those up, guys, that would be great. In the words of Luke G, get those thumbs up, guys. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of people I'm seeing coming in. I see Izzy77. Thanks for being here. One Pride 40. Kenneth Martin, what's going on, bud? Hope work's going good. Guy I work with, another great Lions fan. Ghost Gunner.
Don here too.
Don Burr. Oh, what's going on, Don Burr? Big Wes.
What's up, Jack?
Anyone else we're missing?
Jack Frost.
BB Buster.
Okay, Jack Frost.
E. Perry. There's a bunch of people in here, so thank you for coming in and joining us.
All right. So I kind of feel like Rams House already answered this question kind of with Stafford with O-line and future. I don't know, but I guess if you want to say anything on this Rams House, do you believe Stafford's put in a worse situation or better situation?
I mean, it would be intellectually dishonest for me to answer that question. I have no idea. At the end of the day, it all hangs on the O-line and on Sean McVay, and if he can get his ego out of the way. I would say that based on what happened this offseason, it does not look like Sean McVay is getting out of his own way. It looks like his ego's taking over. He hired all of his friends. He got rid of Aaron Cromer, which was totally unnecessary. He refused to address the offensive line, which is an absolute need. And yeah, it went really poorly. So based on the data we have at hand, I would say it's very possible. I mean, I guess we're comparing apples and oranges. If we're comparing Matt Patricia to the Rams, then sure, he's in a better situation. If we're comparing the Dan Campbell Lions to the Rams, it's very possible he could have been in a better situation here. I know that's going to sound crazy to people, but think about one thing. If Stafford wouldn't have been traded, the Lions would have, $20 million more in cap space. They probably could have kept Kenny Galladay. They probably could have still gone out and got out someone like Brashard Perriman, a deep threat. They could have drafted more O-line help. They could have done a lot of the same things they're doing. And you're telling me Stafford with this elite O-line, with maybe they could have even gotten Tyrell Williams. They got him for nothing. They got Tyrell Williams for almost nothing. He was so cheap. They could have had Tyrell Williams, Kenny Galladay on one side, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown and Quentin Cephas as your 3 and 4 with TJ and Swift and Jamal Williams. They could have done all those same moves. You're telling me that's not a better situation for him than what he potentially could have with the Rams with no interior O-line and a 40-year-old left tackle?
Mm-hmm. I think it was a mistake for him to want to leave, honestly. All right. JGB. I forgot about him in there. That's good to see you there, bro. I love. Yeah, technically true. We got a Discord special right here. Very true. If the Rams can't protect Stafford, do you think his back will survive the season? I don't know.
I don't like to speculate on injuries personally. I don't. Injury aside, I don't think if Sean McVay's offense is the same as it's been for the last 2 years for Jared Goff, and our offensive line is bad, I don't think Stafford will have a good year because he will be looking for people who are not open by the time he gets hit. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. The long developing pass plays with a porous O-line is so rough. And I was just talking to my buddy about it, and he was saying, people are always talking about how Jared's one of the best first read quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's not a very good second read quarterback. Well, the reason that is because he doesn't generally have time to get to a second read.
Mm-hmm.
He's always getting rushed to a second read, and he's not good under pressure. It's not that he can't read. It's the first guy, his first read, and we could watch film on this. You want to make a video? We could watch film on this. Oftentimes, the Rams use an offense. Sean McVay's offense only has one option. Sean McVay's so certain that first guy is going to get open because he designed it so perfectly that there's only one real true option on that play. And when it goes to crap, Jared has no options. You watch the Matt Waldman thread. How often did Matt Waldman go, what is Jared supposed to do? There's nothing there for him. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the Kurt Warner Miami video, he did the same thing. He goes, where is Jared supposed to go? There's nowhere for him to throw the ball. It's such a constant theme. And if Matt Stafford is met with that, bro, Matt Stafford has a cannon, but a cannon ain't going to help you in that situation.
No, it's going to get fingers broken. It's going to get wide receivers' fingers broken. That's all that cannon's going to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you a hot take that will piss some people off. And you know what's ironic is that Rams fans challenged me on this, and we went and we looked at some tape, and I had several legit Goff-hating Rams fans totally change their mind on this. I said, Jared Goff makes throws that only 2 or 3 other quarterbacks in the NFL can make.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want examples, I will give you examples. There's some touch throws he makes that are absolute works of art that that I guarantee you Matt Stafford can't make. You guys ever seen the touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp in the corner of the end zone, right over 2 people against the Minnesota Vikings?
Yes, I have.
There's no chance Matt Stafford has to touch for that throw. No chance, because a bullet would not have done that job.
True. He's got some great technicality about him. That's what I liked about Goff. Yeah, at first when you said McVay was an egomaniac, I thought you were full of crap. But when he got rid of Cromer, I thought, oh, he might be an egomaniac.
You know what's crazy about that is that they F that whole situation up too, because they said, oh, no. The news released by the Rams was we're agreeing to part ways. So we were all talking about it on Twitter like, this is crazy. Aaron Cromer's an offensive line genius. Why are we getting rid of him? And then, no joke, his daughter, Brooke Cromer, and his wife both got on some of these Twitter threads and said, this is not true. This was not a mutual parting. They wouldn't go into details, but they said he was fired, basically. He was basically asked to part ways. And when your wife and daughter are coming on Twitter to say that, you know it didn't go well, bro. You know it did not go well. And from some of the kind of back channel stuff that we've seen, Cromer had been urging them to invest in the O-line, because what was our O-line investment since he's been there, since McVay's been there, has been drafting a 3rd-round left tackle that we expected to play guard, who'd never played guard in his entire life. We drafted a 5th-round right tackle that we expected to play right guard, who'd never played that in his life. Those were the 2 main, and then we drafted a 4th-round center who was a total bust. We've literally invested nothing into our offensive line since McVay's been here. We let Saffold go. We let our starting center go. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was old, but still. And then, I mean, it's been an absolute disaster. So the back channel rumors are Cromer was like, dude, if you want to have an offensive line that will allow your offense to do what it needs to, you're going to have to invest in it. You haven't been investing in it, and then suddenly mutually parting ways.
Mm-hmm. Going down here, he did Pleasant dirty. How did McVay do Pleasant dirty?
So Pleasant was widely expected, even by Rams insiders, to be the next defensive coordinator of the Rams. It was basically like everyone said it was basically a done deal. And then he went out and signed his buddy from Tampa Bay, Raheem Morris. Like the rest of the Rams coaching staff is now just buddies of Sean McVay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't even get why you do that. I mean, Pleasant's done such a good job with the secondary.
He's done a dominant job. And he was actually endorsed by the mastermind that made us the #1 defense last year. Brandon Staley was like, Pleasant's the guy to keep up what we're doing right now. He's the guy to carry this forward. And it was crazy because the Lions snuggly got Pleasant. You can't block promotions. So they named him the secondary coach and the assistant defensive pass coordinator or something like that. So it's technically a title promotion, even though it's kind of the same duties. And Sean's kind of a douchebag because our offensive coordinator, Sean O'Connell, basically does nothing on our team. You would literally, I mean, you could have read articles about the 2020 Rams and you would have never heard his name mentioned. He doesn't call plays. Like nobody knows if he actually does anything. But our DC, Brandon Staley, got the head coaching job for the Chargers and wanted to bring him on as the offensive coordinator, and McVay blocked it, which is, by the way, just a douche move because you're not going to let him call plays and advance his career. All you're doing is holding that guy back. He didn't do that to Matt LaFleur, by the way. Matt LaFleur left the Rams to go to the Titans to become the offensive coordinator to call plays, and Sean didn't stop him. It's just a dick move because Brandon Staley said he was going to give full reins of the offense to O'Connell, and McVay said no. So it's just, I don't know. That bugged me. You don't treat your coaches that way. It's crap.
Yep. What's up? Pretty good.
What's up, Ken?
Yeah. Well, thanks, good sir. Big Cap. What up, Izzy? Wait, hold up. I just lost my spot. There we go. By whom?
Ooh.
By whom?
Actually, I saw a lot of people say the same thing. Before even he was drafted, they were saying Sewell was going to be a bust. I heard Sewell was going to be a bust by a guy that said that he was going to be a bust because he was Polynesian. So I don't know.
I heard about that.
That was okay. Now I'm the only local Michigan resident here. That was by a guy for our media, and I can't think of his name, but boy, let me tell you, did it. I mean, if you watched Luke G's, I think he kind of commented on it. He ticked a lot of us off. I mean, a lot of us off. I think he was in the wide receiver house, like he wanted a wide receiver drafted, and he was the one who said Sewell would be a bust. It's just someone who didn't like an offensive line pick. It wasn't sexy. It's not what he would do. And he's a writer for our local Detroit Free Press. A guy who knows nothing. Honestly, I don't think he watches football. He's just someone who's thrown onto the sports section. And he was one of the guys who I believe said that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Beyond the fact that judging someone based on their nationality is ludicrous, and B, the fact that you could watch film on Sewell and think he's going to be a bust. There's been a bunch of good Polynesian players in NFL history. Troy Polamalu. I know I know he didn't do well for you guys, but for like 5 years, Haloti Ngata was the best defensive tackle in football. He was unstoppable. He was incredible for Baltimore.
Coming into Detroit, he had potential. Like
the dude was a beast. There's been a lot of good Polynesian players.
He's a monster. Dude was like 350. He was a brick wall.
I'm pretty sure at the combine he benched 5,000 times. I'm almost positive.
Wow.
It's obviously a joke.
I
think he did set the record for bench press.
I was just about to look that up and be like, I hope you're being sarcastic because that means that man's on steroids.
No. It's from what I remember, he did a lot. And I said this in a video. Someone in the comments said this. He's only 20. Sewell is only 20. He's still technically not a man. Like, I mean, by age, yeah. But as maturity, his body, he is still a boy. He is growing. He cut down to 215. Wait till next year. I mean, look at what happened with Hawkinson. He got bigger. Wait till this dude starts getting big. It's in his DNA. It's in his genetics. So I don't want to hear this. Oh, he's Polynesian. He can't do big. Wait till 3 years from now when he starts growing into his Polynesian man body. I wouldn't want to be a defensive end. No, and I definitely wouldn't want to be a linebacker trying to blitz. You're going to be hurting, son.
I think Sewell's going to make the move to left tackle sooner than people think.
Oh, you think he's going to move to left tackle, even though Decker's there?
I think at some point he's got to. I mean, you don't draft potentially a generational left tackle and keep him a right tackle forever. He's a freak of nature.
I'm with Rams house. There will be a switch. He's obviously younger. Decker's going to get older, and the left side.
I'd say 2 years.
The left side's the side that you're protecting your quarterback on, and
not to mention
the right side is normally the weaker side to blitz.
Yeah, and the side you want your fastest, most agile player is generally the left side. So I think eventually he will get switched to in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Decker will get a little bit slower, a little bit older, and moved over. I mean, if that's where he still wants to play, I think he still wants to be line. I'm with
Decker's
you.
going to
There will
be
be a
good for a long
swap from
time.
left to right and right to left.
Decker's game is cerebral. He's a very smart player. He's not like this athletic freak of nature. He's just a really smart, fundamental player. That stuff ages well. And Decker will be a good right tackle for a long time when he makes that switch.
Mhm.
I like it.
Let's see. This would have been the best regime that Stafford could have ever had, but had he stayed. Very true. Very true, Jack.
Thank you,
Staff-
GB.
Stafford asking for trade is the best thing to ever. Honestly, maybe, yeah.
If that works out, and especially those 2 upcoming picks this upcoming year and the year after, if we don't need a quarterback, oh my goodness. Plus, depending on where we go in the draft next year, we could trade back and get more.
People keep asking me where the Rams are going to do next year, and the only honest answer I can give is they could win the Super Bowl or they could be the worst team in the division.
True.
Same with every team.
We have not really. We have the talent to be a Super Bowl winning team. Like, we're one of probably 8 teams that have enough talent to win a Super Bowl. But we have some major. If our O-line starts sucking, it's over. If Stafford gets injured, it's over. And our defense, by the way, when you talk about like red flags on a defense, we lost 2 of our top 5 starters, and the entire coaching staff is brand new. Like, if you don't think regression is going to happen when that happens, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the question is how much regression is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next thing is Ghost Gunner said underrated player for us if he makes a team is Cornell. Maybe. I think that if depends on Hand and him, but if Cornell getting in trouble, I don't think he makes a team. Yeah, he's suspended for 3 games. I don't think he makes a team.
I was going to say he's the guy who had some personal issues, and then he did something not so smart, and he got busted for it.
I honestly, y'all should.
He might get cut from that
on some of that D-line depth. You're talking about. So first of all, they're running 3D linemen. They're going to be running a 3-4. So you're talking about Michael Brockers, McNeil, Levi, Hand are going to get the vast majority of the snaps of the D-line, in my opinion.
If Hand's healthy.
If Hand's healthy. But then you still have Pennicini. You still have Williams. There's still, dude, like some of these bottom depth guys are just likely not going to get a whole lot of playing time.
Because Hand is great on the inside. Like, he played better at inside defensive tackle than he did outside. He's just able to turn his body and get speed and get in.
Which means he's gonna be better. He's probably going to be him and Levi will probably share to some extent the snaps at that 3 tech where Aaron Donald plays. And then obviously McNeil. I don't know that Pennicini or Williams are really big enough to be a nose tackle. So McNeil may just by default get a lot of the snaps there, unless they bulk up some. You don't want to see a 300-pound nose tackle because those guys are basically tasked.
I was going to say McNeil. How big is McNeil? He's only 320.
But he's a pretty big 320.
He's like let's see if I go on to McNeil. I think he's like 6'3".
345. I think.
Oh, is he that big?
He's a pretty damn big boy. I didn't believe it, but he's up there. 3.
According to ESPN, he's 6'2", 320 pounds.
Okay, so he's probably going to be the back end most tackle. But I have some hope for him. But I fell in love with McNeil's freaking film. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he takes double teams like every play.
He can move. I mean, you got to remember this dude.
He's
was playing center field for softball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some quickness there for a big man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, David?
Avery Giovanni is on here.
Spirit of Detroit right there. Very nice.
Yeah. The Rams' O-line is not that good. They're average at best. It's just that Cam Akers is really good. He's the run game.
That's actually a really good point. So when PFF grades, this is one of the things that when PFF grades the Rams really high because of the run blocking, they make a decision every play. True. they make a decision. They watch a play and they go, okay, is the reason that run worked was because of the running back or the offensive line? Generally, they don't give points to both sides. They choose who was responsible for the productive play. And Cam Akers is phenomenally good at making something good out of nothing. That's actually a specialty. In college, at Florida State, he played behind one of the worst college offensive lines in all of college football. And what he did very well was literally he reminds me a lot about Le'Veon Bell when he was in Pittsburgh. Remember the patience he'd have and he'd wait for the holes to open up? Akers is similar to that. And that's what makes him special. And I think PFF did a poor job because Akers was rated really poorly last year. He was rated really poorly, and so they basically said the O-line was responsible for all his production. Yeah, he had a 68 PFF rating. So I disagree with that. I think from the film that I watched, Akers oftentimes made them look much better than they were. And yeah, I think that point is super valid. I think Cam Akers made them look much better than they were, and I think the pass blocking was horrendous from week 7 on.
Very true. Jack Frost also says Goff is more accurate and a better red zone QB than Stafford. That's just a fact. I do that. The red zone part I definitely know is true.
Statistically, it is pretty much every year. Even last year, Jared Goff was considered a more accurate quarterback statistically than Matthew Stafford. Whether it's Pro Football Reference's on target balls or ESPN or NFL Next Gen stats talking about balls that were thrown in the zone, which meaning like the numbers and stuff like that, or where it's supposed to be. Jared Goff was several percentage points better at almost every spot on the body for accuracy. You want to argue, other stuff about that. We can, but red zone is not even a question. I mean, Jared Goff's stats are phenomenally better. They're one of the best in the NFL. But as far as accuracy goes, I mean, here's the reality, right? And I challenge you all to do this. Go watch film of go watch highlights of Matthew Stafford, because this is what I did. I knew Matthew Stafford well, but the moment the trade happened, I was watching highlights of Matthew Stafford before I watched film, and I watched and I texted my buddy and they said 75% of these plays are contested catches. They're guys going up and catching balls he's throwing. I said, now watch Jared Goff's highlights. Go just highlights. I know it's not film, but go watch the highlights. And what is Jared Goff's highlights? It's full of him throwing pinpoint passes, just placing balls beautifully. A lot of times there's people open, etc., but his placement of balls and his accuracy is great. And in my opinion, Goff is more accurate overall. I think he needs to improve his decision-making overall. I think he needs to improve his playing under pressure, etc., etc. But talking about just raw accuracy, dude, Goff places the ball legs. It's absolutely incredible.
And we need red zone. We need him to be good in red zone. I mean,
Stafford struggled with that.
We need to stop getting 3 points. I mean, don't get me wrong, 3 points are great. I want to score on every drive. So, I mean, if it comes down to getting 3 points over 0, I will take 3 points, but give me touchdowns. If we could, I said this a couple years ago, if the Lions can average a touchdown per quarter, you're going to win more times than that. In red zone, a better red zone quarterback, that's where Stafford struggled. And with our upgraded O-line, goal line, I mean, with Goff being a better red zone quarterback, you have a line that can run it. I don't see why we can't get more points off of that, to where we have struggled for years at goal line and in the red zone and had to settle for field goals.
You know what we need to do? We can work together, but I was thinking one thing that would be pretty interesting, people, is if we put together a little maybe 10, 15-minute montage of some Jared Goff throws and watch them and talk about them as just, it's not film, it's highlights, but the point I want,
it gives you an idea.
The accuracy Jared Goff is capable of. I'm like, when I said Jared Goff can place balls and throw some balls that only 2 or 3 other quarterbacks in the NFL can do, I want to put together a montage of some of those passes so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because I even challenged some of the most hardened Goff haters on the Rams side. And I said, tell me 3 other quarterbacks who can make that throw besides Jared Goff. And they were like, you know what? I don't know that I can. Because it's not all about throwing it sidearm. It's not all about fitting it into these tight little windows. Sometimes ball placement is of utter importance. Putting the ball an inch out of someone's reach where only the receiver can catch it, in my opinion, is way more important than being able to launch a missile through 3 defenders in a tight window.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, one of them is a lot less risky than the other.
And we ain't going to be breaking fingers. That's another thing I like about Goff over Stafford. He is more touch than muscle, and I think that will win us more games.
Very true.
He doesn't need to throw it 80 yards, which everyone's freaking out. Goff doesn't have an arm. Goff doesn't have an arm. I was watching Goff film. I've seen him sit at the 20 and lob it up for his receiver 50,
if
60
you want
yards.
to be factual about that, the last 4 years since Goff has been in the NFL, he has thrown further passes than Stafford has every single year. I'm talking about through the air. Every single season except for last season.
There you go.
And not by a little bit. We're talking about like 10 to 15 yards further. Through the
younger.
air than
I would
Stafford
hope he could.
So this idea that Goff has been top 3 in air yard completions in the NFL, like just distance of one throw in the NFL for the first 3 years of his career. Last year was the first time he fell out of top 3. He's like top 10.
Then maybe all of our fans who are hating on him because he is now a Lion can shush about that, because that's what I've heard a lot of is his arm. He doesn't have the arm that Stafford does.
No, it's just the difference, though. There's a difference between the idea of it's a style difference. Jared Goff doesn't throw with a cannon. That doesn't mean he doesn't have arm strength. A cannon is very rarely necessary to complete passes. Jared Goff doesn't throw a cannon, but can he throw it far enough? Absolutely. Jared Goff is, like I said, he's always up there in furthest thrown completed pass. Every season, he's up there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think we're gonna do one more Goff question because that seems to be the big topic, I guess, right now. So if Goff pans out, would it be the biggest fleece in NFL history? 100%. I mean,
no,
you get 2 firsts to the franchise.
If those picks work out,
the
oh my god,
it won't beat the Herschel Walker trade, but
it'll be number 2.
It'll be the biggest trade in the last 20 years, I think, probably.
Yeah. If it works out,
didn't like Chicago trade all but 1 pick to get Herschel Walker or something?
Yeah. They traded their whole freaking team, basically. That's pretty bad.
That and the Ricky Williams thing was second closest to being fleeced. Dolphins
I would say,
well,
it's in the future, but Izzy, as you know, it was JGB said Stafford's a cannon, Goff is sniper. I think that's a pretty good example. And at the end of the day, guess what happens? Guess which person gets intercepted more often?
Gunslingers every time.
I like this by JGB. Stafford is a cannon. Goff is a sniper. That's what we need is a sniper.
Mm-hmm. Interesting take on Price 40.
Hey, there's Sean. What up, Sean? Lions go 6-11. Goff will throw over. I don't know about about 35 touchdowns, bud.
So here's part of the problem. Here's part of the problem with predicting. Well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he throws 35 touchdowns. The reason why is because I think the team will see his production in the red zone and go, he's trustworthy in the red zone. He's proven over the course of 79 touchdowns to 3 interceptions over the course of his career. He's trustworthy in the red zone. He's the guy who can
I just figure there'll be more rushing that'll take up the majority of that. That's why I say I don't think 35, but with the red zone.
The red zone is a difference maker. I think I don't think running is going to be as crazy as people think it is. Like Luke said, I think 35 to 40 a game. That would have been number 1 in the NFL, including the Ravens, who had a running quarterback. That's a pretty excessive amount of running.
Okay.
Also, if he was talking about 25 passes a game for Goff, that's so low. I think it would be like several lower than the lowest in the NFL. I think Goff will probably throw somewhere near 30 times a game. And it'll probably be a 50-50 split, I think. I think that's fair. It's a fair guesstimation based on unless they go totally against Anthony Lynn's history and because even Anthony Lynn said that the other day in an interview. They're like, "Hey, do you foresee yourself being a run-heavy team because you got Jared Goff and you got a good O-line?" He goes, "Guys, nothing about my history says I'm going to be a run-heavy team. I've never done that before." He goes, everyone always says I'm a run-heavy team because I run a zone run scheme, but I've never actually been a run-heavy team. I've always been a fairly balanced team that actually gets more passing than running.
Fair point.
I'm definitely with the 4,000 yards. I'd say 28 touchdowns, but that's just me.
Offense had a bunch. That's like 2 4,000-yard years, right? Yeah.
So the worst team in the NFL was the Ravens at 25 passes a game. And obviously they have a running back playing quarterback, so that makes sense. The next worst was the Patriots, who threw 27.5 a game, and they also have a running back playing quarterback. So now when we get to the quarterbacks, like the Titans, that's the third worst team in the NFL. They threw 30 passes a game. The third worst was 30 passes a game. That's why I just don't see us getting below 30 passes a game.
Okay.
Good to know. All right. So what I'm hearing is if Aaron Glenn gets taken from us, Flint made Aubrey Pleasant should be our next episode DC. I'd like that. That makes sense.
Not only is that a smart idea and observation, but it's also what Dan Campbell has said he's about. He's about internal promotions. He's about lifting up the guys under him and getting them to their goals. Like everything Dan Campbell's been preaching is exactly that. I feel like it would be a slap in the face if Dan Campbell, his first big coaching hire is to go outside when he's been preaching about building up the guys under him. Remember, he said he wants every guy under him to be head coach one day. He wants every guy under him to take over his job. Like he's been preaching that offseason.
Yeah. I'd like us to stick around for a couple years, like this group, like 3 years.
It just depends. Though,
and then,
you always
the
want
band
that.
can break apart. But I would love to see everybody together, especially this coaching staff is as good as they sound. Oh my gosh! By the time someone starts to leave to go get another job, and we're bringing another coaching staff, I think we'll be right there. But I would like to see the coaching staff stick around for 2 years tops together before people start, breaking off.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes, sir. Trying to see what our next question is. Okay.
Can I finish one point I was making earlier? The most rushingest team in the NFL, the Ravens, rushed 34 and a half times a game. So they didn't even get 35, and they had a running back playing quarterback. Then the Titans were the second most, and they averaged my calculator's not working. They averaged 32 a game. So the second highest rushing team in the NFL averaged 32 a game. So 35 just seems like an impossible number for rushes, and 25 seems like an impossible number for passes. I bet it will be somewhere near 30-30 by the end.
It's kind of how it was for Herbert and Philip Rivers.
That would be good.
Never understood why people wanted the third best receiver over one of the best tackles we've seen in a while. I wasn't even a big fan of Devontae Smith anyways.
No.
I think it's that fantasy and Madden kind of mentality. Like,
just basic, man.
Just think, if you have receivers, you can win. But, the picture that Luke G said, you don't got line. How is the quarterback going to get that ball to that wide receiver? Build from the inside out.
Yeah. Well, even then, I just didn't like Devontae Smith all that much. I way rather would have gotten a lineman or linebacker before I wanted Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
I didn't like.
That was the guy who was a little bit smaller, right? Couldn't quite get to
I think he measured 160. I think he was 160 at the Indianapolis thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. At 1.165, I'd heard, but 160. Yeah, no. Gosh, no. Good luck to the Eagles, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, they run the receivers.
Do we play them this year or no?
I think we do.
Eagles.
By the way, the Chargers differential last year was 39 passes to 28 rushes.
Wow.
Okay. If Decker is...
Because you can always improve. The biggest thing also is the older a tackle gets, switching to the right side, which is considered less scary than left tackle, would be a lot better for his health.
The main thing is I don't think Derek.
You kind of keep it even by doing that.
Yeah, I just don't see a world where Decker dominates a left tackle. He's just not athletic to be a top 5 tackle, a left tackle. He's good enough to be a top 10, top 15, easy. But to be a top 5 left tackle, you've got to be very athletic and have the technique and the smarts and everything like that. He has one half of that puzzle. So as the little athleticism that he has declines, I think it'll be a smart maneuver. Because what he can do is he can actually add some bulk, be a little bit more of a road grader at right tackle, and then Sewell with his speed and his agility can come in over and take over. I like Decker a lot. I think he's probably one of the most underrated tackles in football, but I just don't see him as top 5. I don't think so when you're talking about dominating, I just don't. I see him as like one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, or pass blockers in the NFL, and a really good run blocker, but never a dominant.
Yeah, no, and I mean, as you get older as a lineman, you start to decline. You put him at right tackle, he's playing, unless there's a team that has 2 elite edge rushers, you're playing the weaker of that, and he still stays strong at that. So your left tackle position will stay strong if you're swapping over, and everything will just stay where it's at, maybe even get a little bit better just by age and experience.
Why is everyone talking about Decker leaving? He's got like a 5-year contract, doesn't he?
Yeah. So to Izzy's point, I think that's actually definitely possible. Let me see where he can be dropped off at, because obviously everyone, the years don't make a difference. It's the guaranteed salary. The out for Taylor Decker's contract is, if SpellTrack will load. SpellTrack might be down.
We all believe the Bengals made a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, the concept that Izzy's talking about, though, is you don't really want to pay 2 tackles top tier money. Like, they could draft a second, like you could get a really good right tackle in the 2nd or 3rd round 2-3 years from now. That's the reality. And so would you rather pay Taylor Decker 15, 16 a season, or would you rather pay a rookie, 3 to 5? Managing the cap is about making those kind of decisions, and it's tough because Decker is a really cool dude. Okay, the out for the Lions is 2022. After 2022, so 2 more seasons, and they can drop Decker for, this is 12.5 dead cap. But if they trade Decker, it's probably quite a bit less.
I don't see that. Decker wants to be here. He was excited when he got his contract extension, and you're building camaraderie through the O-line. Why disrupt that? This is our strongest area on this team. Players know it, fans know it, even the horrible outside media knows it. Why would we do that to our strongest asset?
The closer you come to needing to pay Sewell, what will probably be $20 million a season by that time, do you want to be paying $40 million a season for your tackle combination? I think that would be a rough sell for most people. It's just too much money, and not to mention right now you're talking about paying. And what if Jonah Jackson needs an extension? You're talking about paying crazy dollars. Somebody's gonna have to be let go because you can't pay everyone.
Not necessarily. I mean, if we're close and we're doing good in, let's say, 3 years, 2-3 years, maybe Decker pulls a Brady and says, I'll take a little bit less money to stay here. We're close. That's 100%. My hope.
If Decker,
not for sure, but that would be my hope. I mean, especially if all those guys are clicking in a brick wall, then you've got other stuff to, this is 100% the best line we can do other things with. I don't know if the coaching staff would ask them or if they would just step up, but I mean, it's a possibility. But I get what you're saying, though.
It's just cap issues, man. You have to constantly maneuver things around, and good teams have to let really well liked quality players go and make those decisions
all the time. Yeah,
actually, to be honest with you, it's the sign of a good team when you're able to let go people that are really good and are well liked because cap calls for it. Teams that overpay for someone on the 2nd and 3rd contract are bad teams.
And I mean, we didn't do it with Galladay, and everybody wanted Galladay to stay, and we're like, nope, can't do it. So,
not for what he got paid. If he was willing to stay for 13, I'd have been happy to keep him.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point of, what it will cost.
I'm not going to lie to you.
We're not about that. The Lions are not about that anymore.
I will tell you this straight up. Is there a chance Tyrell Williams is a better overall receiver than Galladay? Absolutely there is. He's faster.
He's
way 100%. Faster.
He's way faster. He's not shown. Tyrell's
Speed
never
kills.
shown to be had bad hands. Tyrell has good hands. His main issue has been opportunity and has been health. Because remember, he got drafted, or he came into the Chargers with freaking Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, yeah.
You know, tough place to get snaps at. And the only reason he had that 1,000-yard season was because Keenan Allen got hurt, and then he started starting a few games into the season.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think people also got to remember Tyrell Williams can kind of do just about everything. He doesn't necessarily have the dominance at contested catches that Kenny Galladay has, but he can definitely do it. Just watch any of his tape. He can do it. There's a game I watched with him and Derek Carr last year. He made a fantastic catch in the end zone. It was not last year, in 2019. He made a fantastic catch in the end zone. It was an amazing play. He can do that kind of stuff, and I'm not saying he's going to have stats like Galladay. I'm not saying he's going to lead the league in touchdowns like Galladay did in 19, but he's going to be a fantastic player for us. I really think he can be close to it. I think he can at least have Marvin Jones like stats.
I mean, what did I do on Discord? I showed that he had better per target stats across the board than DK Metcalf.
Yep.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I did not.
Tyrell's opportunity has always been he's never got enough targets, whether it's injury or just he's just not getting the ball thrown to him. But when he gets the ball thrown to him, he's incredibly productive.
Oh yeah.
You know, let me bring this point up. And I've said this before. You know, I'm not well known, so I'll shoot my shot right now. Everyone who is saying our wide receivers 1 and 2 are not that great, they have the best quarterback that they have got to play with in Goff. Is he Stafford? No, but he is an upgrade over what they had. Who did those receivers have to work with? Derek Carr and Jameis Winston. Goff
Carr's
is
a
an
good
upgrade.
quarterback.
Carr's a good quarterback.
He's all right. But I mean, you just by getting a better quarterback, that makes those receivers better in general. So give them a chance.
Yeah. Zave asks thoughts on the Browns. So I think it's just like what we think we're going to be. I like the Browns, honestly. I think
They're my
did a
second
great
team
job
after the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
Browns.
I'm a Bills person.
God, Myles Garrett.
I'm a Rams fan.
Yeah.
Browns are interesting because talent is off the charts, but at the end of the day, there's a chemistry and a cohesiveness that has to happen, and they have a lot.
That's the closest you're going to get to a Madden team right there.
Yeah, but they have a lot of toxic, at least people that give off the perception of being toxic on that team that needs to be worked with.
I do think it did look a lot better though last year under Kevin Stefanski. For example, Baker Mayfield was known as like this big loudmouth, and last year I didn't really see him be that big of a loudmouth. Even OBJ was a bit improved last year when under Cleveland. Myles Garrett didn't nearly murder someone with their helmet, so we didn't have any of that last year under Stefanski, and hopefully that'll improve some more. Maybe just getting older will help those guys too.
Yeah,
but they just did so well. Their draft was amazing. Getting Greg Newsome in the first was a great selection. Then they got JOK. As long as he stays, if he doesn't, as that heart condition doesn't really affect him, I think he can be a solid linebacker.
What the best thing they have going for them is?
O-line.
My
opinion.
They don't have a running back playing quarterback.
Yeah, honestly, for sure.
That running back core over in Cleveland.
Not only do they not have a running back playing quarterback, but the quarterback's never been charged with a felony, I don't think.
Oof.
Or suspected of committing a felony.
I do like Cleveland.
I just think about how odd and toxic that quarterback grouping is for the AFC North.
Oh yeah,
it's super weird how they've all fit in there. It makes
yeah, and then there's just Burrow over there.
But are the Bengals in the AFC North?
Yeah,
I think the Bengals are just sitting at the bottom tier of the NFL by themselves in their own special division.
Yep.
Here's a question. Speaking of the Bengals, come the 5 years when his contract's up, does he stay or does he go? Because I think he's got some talent.
So long as he's not dead. I mean, as long as he has an ACL, I think he's going to be fine. I think they'll improve their line a bit more next year. There's another tackle from Miami that people are really praising right now that they could get possibly next year since they passed on Sewell stupidly, because they really, I still can't believe that the Bengals really thought Riley Reef, Sewell, Riley Reef, Sewell,
No, I don't think it was that
Riley
simple,
Reef.
but
Like, I don't. Well, they wanted Jamar Chase, but I still don't get how they thought Riley Reef would really be such an improvement at a tackle spot that would really necessarily protect
They could get that kid from
Burrow.
Alabama too next year.
Jonah
That
Jackson?
dude who's like 6'7".
Jonah
No,
Williams?
the dude who's 6'7" at Alabama. They could pick him up next year in the draft. Cincinnati. Dude's like 365, 6'7".
Oh yeah. Hand is injured more than my life. Okay.
Oh,
Rip.
ouch.
If the O-line is to staple the team, I don't know if they let Decker walk. I don't either. I disagree heavily on that. Unless you have a good replacement, but like if you're saying Tyrell Crosby is ever going to replace Decker, or like you have a Tyrell Crosby like talent player, I don't think so.
no. I think they would draft someone.
He's a good backup for sure, Crosby.
Teams
Just
have to
keep our O-line solid,
keep the
but
cap.
not over Decker.
Teams have a concept of cap balance where they only want to put so much of a percentage of the cap into any individual positional group. Like they will have a limit that they won't go over. And if keeping Decker means blowing up the O-line cap limit and hurting another positional group, that is when they make those hard decisions. It's not an easy decision, and it's not necessarily one that anyone likes, but every good team lets good players go that you can't fathom why they let them go, but they just can't afford to keep them. And good teams find replacements to the draft before it comes time to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think, like, for example, we might let Quinton Dunbar walk next season.
I would argue you're going to let Quinton Dunbar work, but we're not talking about.
Is he a 1 or a 2 year contract?
He's a 1 year.
Okay, yeah, then I don't see him being re-signed. He's just there to fill until our cornerbacks get better.
Yeah, I agree with David right there.
Derek Barnes. What did he say about Derek Barnes?
He'll be a good middle linebacker, so I can get my linebacker essentially. Yeah, I think he will. Yes, he was. Iffy is a pretty bulked up. He has potential. I think he's going to develop for a year though. He's very raw. I wouldn't throw him into starter this year, especially when you already have Dunbar and Amanio, and you already have your 3rd overall pick from last year. I don't really see Iffy getting too much playing time. To be honest with you,
I mean, in a pinch if something happens, but I'm with you. But I mean, it wasn't he projected at one point to possibly be like a first rounder?
Sometimes very late,
depending on who. Yeah, like at the end, like the 28th, 29th, and it just depends on who you talk to. I didn't hear anything really about him first round, but I mean, and through the comments and videos, I heard possibly. So.
Yeah. Very big one. Hand or Bryant will get cut this year if they can't stay healthy.
Neither. You're not getting rid of either of my guys.
It's if they can't stay healthy. If they can't. But Hand hasn't gotten injured yet. Bryant already has, so I have concerns about Bryant.
I would say over Hand, but I mean, if they're both, I could see them both being cut and then come mid-season with the trade or whatever, or picking up people. I could see them both being gone if they're injured. This is last straw for me, and I love both of those guys. I've had both of them as my avatar. If anyone who's watched me knows, I like both of those guys. Anytime someone talks about them being cut, it's a no. If it's a major injury, I'm saying adios, goodbye. And I'm an advocate for them, so.
David says hello. McNeil can move for sure.
Yeah, when I was talking about McNeil being an absolute powerhouse, I wasn't. That's what makes McNeil. There's a lot of nose tackles that are immovable. That's a pretty common trait for nose tackles because they're big and strong. But McNeil's speed and agility is what makes him a 2nd-round pick, or what he should have been a 2nd-round pick. He's taking the 3rd, right?
Yeah, he's taking 3rd.
What he probably should have been a 2nd-round pick. I mean, nose tackle is not a position everyone needs. Obviously, that's probably why he fell. I mean, if everyone is running 3-4, he would have gone higher. But no, that's what makes him special, though. Is people who his immovability on double teams is incredible to watch. But his speed and agility is what makes him a guy who will probably be very good in the league for a long time.
Oh, looks like someone caught your cover, Rams House. One Pride 40 says, I swear Rams House is an undercover Lions fan.
I saw that forever ago. I was wondering if you were going to get to that.
I mean, I'm going to be rooting hard for both teams this year. So,
well, thank you. Lions need all the help we can get in the fan department.
I have watched probably 20 times more Lions film than I have Rams film this offseason. So,
well, can you get to that mainstream media and convince them, please?
Yeah.
I'm not a magician.
True. Okay. Exactly. That's a big reason too. Is McNeil just does stuff. Well, he actually has a couple pass rush moves. I mean, he doesn't have a lot. Like he doesn't have the most, but he's got some moves that he can do that I saw when I watched some of his tape.
So when he gets through, he goes after. He's not a big dude who like finally breaks through and is gassed and is just kind of running like Ashawn Robinson jogging. He is flying after people. I'm pretty sure I saw McNeil in a highlight be going up in between the left guard and left tackle, broke through, came all the way back around the field, and was the guy or one of the guys to tackle him for a gain of 2. So he ran all that way around.
Mm-hmm.
So he got some giddy up to him for a big man.
Mm-hmm. Levi Onwuzurike, though, that man can chase you down. That guy has some fantastic.
I want to see him get nasty, like I said in that video. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I want to see him take charge and be offended and use that being offended as motivation and just wreck game plans. I won't say his words, but wreck game plans.
Oh yeah. One Pride 40. Rams House. So you're saying that Brad Holmes is more conservative. Tell me how he was trying to trade up for Sewell and Levi.
So when I say conservative, referring to Brad Holmes, I'm not talking about that sort of thing. I'm talking about what he's going after. He's going after filling the trenches, going after some sleeper receiver picks. I mean, conservative in the way he's approaching building the team. I think that him trying to go up for Sewell and Levi is simply inexperience at the GM level. He is a scout at heart, right? That's his background. He's been scouting for his whole life. So when he sees somebody that he's like, this guy's generational talent, he's going to want to do whatever it takes to get that guy because he thinks it's going to change the team. That's why having a guy like Dorsey that can mentor him at the decision-making part of being a GM is vital to his success as a GM. Because if you're talking about him as a scout and someone who can identify talent, he's amazing. I think he has a great track record of that. But the decision-making part is he just, he's a guy who fell in love with Sewell and Levi and didn't want to miss on him. And that's perfectly fine. And then, but he's learning the aspect of going, okay, I don't need to trade up for him. And as Dorsey helps him be more conservative in the decision-making part of it, I think he'll be getting on. Let's remember, Brad Holmes is his first time being a GM, and he's never had to be the decision maker before, so it's a big difference.
Well, I think Dorsey was such a good addition. That was an amazing move to do.
He's probably one of my favorite additions, just because of what he has done for other teams. I mean, look at where the Browns are at when Dorsey went in. Look what he did for
Chiefs.
them.
Or even the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, that's right. With the Chiefs too, because he was part of the Mahomes thing.
Well, right? He's the architect of the Chiefs and the Browns' current teams. Yes.
Yeah. He never seems to stay with them.
No, you know what? It's funny. That's actually when I was a trainer for my company that I was talking about earlier. I would go into a new store. I would transform the store's sales, and then I would be transferred to another garbage store and do it all over again. And there is an entertainment factor in being the guy who's capable of turning it all around. That is a challenge that some people thrive on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked at Myers, and there was a guy who did what you did and what John Dorsey does, and that's just the job of what he does, or maybe that's just what John Dorsey's good at. Gets the team good and says, "All right, adios. I'm on to the next one. You guys are good. I've done all I can do here. It is now on to you guys to do it." So.
Nah, I was always Sewell.
Sewell.
Yeah.
Sewell all day.
Between those two, it wasn't a question. But look, if you want the honest truth, I was struggling deciding on Sewell over Pitts. I'm glad it never came down to that, but Pitts is going to be he's going to be a
Mhm.
freaking monster.
He's a versatile weapon.
That would have been something, Hawkinson and him. I mean,
Oh, I
don't
mean,
get
you
me
can't-
wrong. I'm
oh
glad
my
we got
gosh.
12. But could you imagine if we had those two? Like,
No, I wouldn't even.
people wouldn't
forget
even be
Pitt's a tight
thinking
end.
about our wide receivers.
Pitt's
People
a
wouldn't
wide
be thinking of
receiver.
our wide receivers. They'd be freaking out about the tight end combo. And our wide receivers, we could have the 31st and 32nd best wide receiver, like crap wide
Mhm.
receivers, and they would get open just on the fact that Hawkinson and Pitts.
I wouldn't have played Pitts at tight end. I would have had him as wide receiver number 1.
Yeah.
There's no reason he can't. He's fast enough. He's got good enough route running to do it.
Mhm. He's just such long. Didn't he have the longest arms in NFL history at the pro day? I know someone did.
His reach, so remember that graphic they put up of Calvin Johnson saying that he has a catch radius the size of a 2-car garage. You guys remember it was on Monday Night Football. They showed Calvin running a route and he was turning around and they showed his catch radius. It was sports science. His catch radius, so it was ESPN Sports Science, is the size of a 2-car garage. That's the radius in which if you throw the ball anywhere within the 2-car garage range of Calvin Johnson, that ball's getting caught. Pitts is the second closest catch radius between leg length, arm length, jumping up like broad jumping, vertical jumping, all those things combined. Pitts was, I think, the second longest catch radius or biggest catch radius ever since Calvin Johnson.
Yep. He was a fantastic player. I also love this little thing that David says here. I had a dream about the Lions versus the Rams game. Goff throws a winning touchdown pass and takes his jersey off and shows his name McVay and flexes.
Oh, that ain't happening. But that's funny to think about in the cartoon world, I guess.
I'm gonna answer that question real quick while you're scrolling through that one pride asked. What other players? According to Bucky Brooks, who is in the know, Bucky Brooks, NFL scout for a long time, been working for NFL Network for a long time.
Been a player.
He's a very well respected person in the NFL circles. He said in a Twitter thread, and I sent it to Analytic Dan. I remember I sent it to you at Bucky Brooks' Twitter thread, where he said McVay had scapegoated Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, and Jared Goff as the problems why his offense wasn't working.
Wait, Brandon Cooks? Oh, I forgot about Cooks. That one.
We let go of Brandon Cooks. What did Brandon Cooks do after he left the Rams? He put up almost 1,300 yards for the Houston Texans. We let go of one of the best deep threats in football, and it was disastrous for us. It went horribly.
Mm-hmm. Great show, fellas. Thanks, Jack, for coming to the stream.
Thank you much.
Very true, Big Wes. Yes, I do. What about you guys? I think Victor Bolden can. He has experience. Maybe Khalif Raymond and him are the battle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Victor's kind of so far one of our
dominators.
One or two, yeah.
I mean, he's doing great as a receiver and as a return man, from what I've heard. So he's killing it.
Was he the guy who in college did really well and had like 5 return touchdowns?
Yes, he did.
Victor? Okay.
Yeah. Well, Tutu Atwell beat him out. Tutu Atwell beat out Brandon Cooks?
No, this was a while ago.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I saw that comment for forever.
Tutu Atwell will make the team because people don't like to admit when they make mistakes. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Tutu Atwell, if he does good, he'll be the first player of his size to do well. So that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. True. Oh wow, really? I did not know he was doing 28.
Mm-hmm. Decker will be 31, turning 32 when his contract runs out.
Wow, crazy. So open 3 years.
Do you want to pay a right tackle, 15, 16 million a season at 32 years old? That's the question. And the answer is probably going to be no. If he goes for 10, we have another conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually just got a friend that texted me, so he gets saying I guess he gets friend privileges. He wants to know what are our Super Bowl predictions for this year. So, personally, I see it as a Chiefs versus some. I don't know that AFC's obviously almost always the Chiefs is your answer. It's either Chiefs, Bills, or Browns for me. But
I'll go out on a limb. I mean, the easy answer is a repeat, right?
yeah, honestly, yeah.
I'll
Tampa.
go out. So let's take the repeat off the table. Both those teams gone, just for fun's sake, because that's the easy answer. Then
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say repeat. So
I'm going to go with Tennessee Titans versus or the Bills. Both of them could be, but I'll just take Titans just for fun because they just got Julio Jones and it's fun. Tennessee Titans versus I don't even know.
The NFC's just still question mark.
The NFC, it's literally just question marks. Like I don't have faith in any of these teams to make the Super Bowl at all.
Wow. None of them.
I'm gonna go Bills in the AFC, NFC, my lord. Bills and who else is in the division with the Rams?
Arizona, San Francisco, and Seattle.
Yep.
Oh.
Honestly, they all have huge question marks.
They all do. Seattle has the O-line and the defense. Same thing.
And then the NFC East it was just crap last year. So it's like
unless you think the Cowboys are going to take a huge step forward, but I don't think so. I don't believe in Dak Prescott that much. So,
oh man, I don't know.
It's really hard.
I'm gonna go Bills and Rams. Just random, no thought.
I'm gonna go Bills Packers.
Oh.
If Aaron Rodgers stays, it's Bills Packers in my opinion, because they were at the championship last year, and I mean they were so close. I mean,
but Rodgers and the Packers choke. They're like Ohio State in the big game. No. When regular season Ohio State's great. They get to the playoff. That's the Packers.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I don't know. But I would say Packers can, but they choke.
Is it crazy to say the Titans can make the Super? I mean, their offense is dynamic now, and their defense has talent, and they have a good coach. Like that's all you need. You have to have talent and a good coach, and
they have Derek
good things
and Henry. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, and they also have some underrated additions. They have Janarius Jenkins, who was a good addition, Caleb Farley, Elijah Molden, and they still have Christian Fulton from last year. And Fulton, I think, will develop into being a pretty solid player. They have Amani Hooker and Kevin Byard, so they got a great secondary.
Don't forget my boy, Harold Landry. Beast.
Yeah, I was about to talk about him. Yeah, Harold Landry and Bud Dupree. They still have Rashawn Evans and Jaron Brown. They still have Jeffrey Simmons, who I think has some potential, and they added the good run stuff in the end and Denark Rodri.
Oh,
I think they can easily improve.
By the way, a very under the radar player, Jeffrey Simmons, who was a monster in college, who
only went
late because he got into some legal. Yes, he only went late because he got into some legal trouble. I mean, he went 19.
Oh, he would have been like the first defensive tackle, maybe even the first defensive lineman off the board. He was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not the first defensive because he was in the same draft as Bosa.
Yeah, so Izzy's point here is excellent, by the way. It's
I would hope in 3 years that we'll be shooting for a Super Bowl contention. That means we need to acquire talent and maintain talent. That costs money, and that'll be smart to invest 13 to 17 million.
Talking about Decker as a right tackle, and that's my point. That's my point because
it's not impossible. Oh. I mean, there are plenty of teams that have turned it around.
This is the bottom line.
And the video that's already out. 25 teams that have turned it around and gone from having like 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins to being 10, 11, 12, 14 win teams. It's possible.
This is how it breaks down realistically, though. Do you want Sewell and Ragnow, or do you want Decker over either of those guys? Because eventually, Ragnow and Sewell are going to keep getting paid. They're your cornerstones. Then you're making a choice. Do you want to pay 3 offensive linemen top dollar? Because Big V will drop off eventually. That has a big contract, obviously. Yeah. But do they want
there's a chance Big V's gone.
Having 3 top paid O linemen is impossible. What is possible is having 2 top paid O linemen, having 1 guy on a rookie contract and 2 guys paid medium amount, like $8 to $10 million. That is how you build an O line. But
I'm with it.
It just depends on what happens. Maybe Sewell's a bust. That's impossible. But Decker is going to decline eventually. I just don't see a situation where Sewell's a bust. He's too talented.
Yeah,
I agree. Oh, ironically, 5 degrees. True. Big face, Patricia's big face. Okay. I don't know if McVay's that bad.
No,
I mean, at
he
least McVay
was
wins.
talking about it in Dion's stream earlier. Basically, just the idea that Patricia came in, hired all his buddies to play. Patricia came, hired all his buddies, and Patricia's kind of constant his complex of thinking he's always the smartest guy in the room, and he operates from that position rather than operating from a place of humility and because when you're the smartest guy in the room, you never have anything to learn. And that's been McVay's biggest issue. He's never made adjustments to his offensive struggles.
Well, and McVay just got figured out, they've been saying. He just got figured out, last year before? And I think the Lions were actually one of the ones who figured him out. They kind of put a cork in it.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually agree with one Pride 40.
The Lions of all teams figured out Sean McVay.
I think Dorsey is looking for a long-term home. You can't do this traveling thing forever. Trust me. It's not fun.
I would love it. I'd love it, man. That'd be great. Tennessee makes a Super Bowl. That would mean we beat the Ravens again. Yes.
I don't know. That's something to brag about. You're beating a team without a quarterback. It's not like it's that hard to do.
Hey, at least that team makes the playoffs in their defense.
But what if he becomes a quarterback and he quits being this running back? What about if he finally gets it together?
Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem with that. I agree he's capable, but I don't think that the Ravens have shown that they're going to allow. The Bills challenged Josh Allen to be a passer over and over and over again, and they said, we're not going to let you. Can Josh Allen run for 1,000 yards? Yes, he can. But they said, we're not going to let you do that. We're going to make you into a quarterback. The Ravens keep going, hey, we're just going to keep building around your ability to run. We're not going to even really bother with making you a quarterback. And it's a good strategy to get in the playoffs, but it's not a good strategy to win a Super Bowl.
Well, especially if you take away that run game. Look no further than really that 2019 Titans game where they just shut down that run game and Lamar was just plain old awful. But another big part for me about that is Lamar was the 22nd ranked quarterback in passing yards last year, and he played 15 games. He didn't even reach 3,000 yards. I mean,
he would have been lower had quarterbacks not gotten hurt. Honestly.
Yep. Exactly, and that's the issue. Is he continues to struggle as a passer? He regresses last year.
Can I say something really funny real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
I just looked it up to be sure, but the Ravens averaged less passing yards than the Jets in 100 less attempts.
No way. Bro. You can't tell me a Sam Darnold team goes as does more.
The Baltimore Ravens had 406 attempts last year, 406 passing attempts, and averaged 171 yards a game. The Jets had 499 pass attempts, almost 100 more, and averaged 174.8.
No way.
That just no. Rut-row raggy.
Show that to EA.
Freaking raggy.
I want to see how he reacts.
I mean, EA will just explain it away, but yeah.
That's just that's wrong.
I don't think Dorsey wants to be a GM again. Probably. I mean, you already got your 2 runs. Maybe if he ever thinks he can be promoted, I don't know. I can see Andy.
No, he's over the GM right now, so he's in a good spot.
Yeah, God, he was the GM with the Browns when they did the Hard Knocks, if I remember, and there was some inside film of him, and it got nasty at one point with him being GM. So.
Okay.
Versus Rams.
That takes.
I would as well. I think Simmons is better than Sweat too.
Yeah,
I do.
He has got man strength for days.
Yeah. When he was honestly, other than Harold Landry, he was the only real dominant guy at all for Tennessee in their pass rush because Clowney is the most overrated player I've ever seen.
Who was it the player I want to say was in that same draft that the Saints reached up for?
Marcus Davenport.
Yes, Davenport. Thank you very much. I was getting him and Landry. Or him and Simmons confused in my head. But yeah.
Simmons was considered a bit of a reach too because he was having some
legal troubles
issues.
Yeah, well, I mean, take out the legal troubles and there's no reach at all. That was just you're banking on him to come in and do good, and you're not looking at the legal trouble.
Got the reward. He's a great player. How do you think the Rams defense will do with Raheem Morris as defensive coordinator? Middle back.
Well, not well.
I don't know.
I mean, look, whenever you make a defensive coordinator change like this and you lose 2 of your starters, there's going to be a pretty decent drop off. We didn't just lose Brad Staley. We lost pretty much every positional coach we had on the team defensively to and offensively for that matter to other teams. So I think we're going to have a massive drop off. I'm also not convinced. So what the Rams are selling is that Raheem Morris is going to come in and he's going to run the exact same defense that Brandon Staley ran last year. It's nonsense. And I'll tell you why it's nonsense. Because the Rams were the number 1 defense in football, but we were the number 1 defense in football for one very specific reason. And I'm going to tell you what that is when I pull this up. We were the best second half defense in football by a very, very, very wide margin. So what does that tell you? That tells you that our defense was very good at making adjustments. So let's see. I found this. Where is total defense? Oh, we need defense by quarter. First half points a game. Second half points a game. First half, the Rams allowed 12 points a game. Second half, the Rams allowed 7 points a game. See the difference there? 5 points less a game. Huge swing. Yards is equally as bad, by the way. The yards per first and second half was equally as bad. Brandon Staley was a master at making adjustments. We were shutting teams down. I think at one point, with 12 or 13 games in, we had not been scored against in the fourth quarter yet. It was incredible. Wow. His defensive play calling in the second half was amazing. You can't just come in and go, I'm going to run the same ideas and I'm going to do the same thing, especially when there's somebody as good as Staley at making adjustments. I have no evidence to support that shows Raheem Morris is going to be able to make those kinds of adjustments at the half. Because we were really just an average defense in the first half, and we were one of the best we were the best in football in the second half. So it's like, is Raheem Morris going to be able to come in and just say, I'm going to run the same concepts and we're going to be fine? No, not when you lose that many positional coaches, and you have a guy in Staley who clearly showed himself to be a master of making adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Chargers got a good coach right there.
They did.
Chargers got a good coach. Chargers have the Lions quarterback. Dang it,
Herbert.
Yeah. Davenport is really good, just injury prone.
I would expect.
That's what it was with Davenport, was injured.
I will tell you, don't be surprised when you see a drop off from Justin Herbert in year 2.
Well, yeah,
really?
because
he's giving off an improved line.
Anthony Lynn, man. You change. First of all, it hurts when a quarterback changes coordinators, regardless, or whatever, whoever's running the team. But Anthony Lynn's a really good coach. He's a really good offensive coach.
I mean, if he did that with him as a rookie, I mean, what can he do with Goff as a veteran?
Well, I think another good example.
Think about right there.
Yeah, I think another good example of Lynn being a good quarterbacks coach is Tyrod Taylor. Everyone remembers how good Tyrod Taylor was as a touchdown? Yeah. Touchdown pick ratio, fantastic. But what has happened to Tyrod Taylor? I wanted him as our
backup. I was really upset when he got picked up as there goes our backup.
Can someone tell me
the 1 and 2 combo?
Can someone tell me what year Anthony Lynn was hired by the Los Angeles Chargers?
2017.
Okay, now 2016. I think you're right. Actually, I'll check real quick because I can just click on this.
No clue.
2016. How many interceptions? Yes, 2016 coach was Mike McCoy. How many interceptions did Philip Rivers throw in 2016? The answer is 21. How many interceptions did he throw in 2017 under Anthony Lynn? The answer is 10. Philip Rivers, Mr. Interceptions himself, saw a reduction of 11 season over season. Actually, if you want to go more in depth with it, from 2011 to 2016, Philip Rivers was averaging 16 interceptions a season. 16 a season. With Anthony Lynn there, the 3 years he played with Anthony Lynn, he went from averaging that to averaging 14, which is a reduction, but he had a horrendous 2019 where he got 20 interceptions. But he had 10 and 12 his first 2 seasons. He saw a massive reduction in interceptions.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's also just Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers was always kind of a gunslinger.
And he was aging and all that stuff. But yeah, but it's the first 2 years where he was kind of controlled. He went from 21 to 10 and 12.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Now, is it Big West that keeps coming in the comment sections of different videos and talking about Matt Patricia and the massage thing with Robert Kraft? Because that is the second time I have heard this comment today.
I just saw it. Yeah, that's fine.
Wow.
That's the second time I've heard that today. In this video stream, and then in maybe Dose of Dion's? Someone else's today. That's the second time I've heard that.
Dude, I freaking love Dion's channel. That's such a good channel.
Did you guys see his Jared Goff video he made?
No.
Came out yesterday. It's pretty good.
Got me to it.
I've been mowing a lawn all
I mean,
day.
he puts out so much. I'm pretty sure out of all the Lions YouTubers, he is like got the most subscribers. Like Dion by subscriptions is number one for us.
Wow.
So hopefully that helps little guys like us.
Yep. Izzy, do you want to come on the show or something? Or is David just trying to put you on the spot? Okay. Oh, did someone roast Patricia earlier or something? I guess.
Of course they did.
Of course. Let's see. Wow, y'all really just do not like Patricia.
If someone likes Patricia, they've got issues. Either that or they're from New England.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he might be a good GM, apparently, because apparently the Rams interviewed him or something like that a while back and thought he could be like
Oh,
a good
whatever.
GM.
No, that's garbage. I mean, I'm so sick of him. Like, I can't even play Madden anymore because I'm sick of seeing his face on Madden as the coach. Like, that's how sick of Matt Patricia I am. It's a video game. I'm like, I don't want to see this man.
You gotta
fire him on franchise.
Yeah. I made Dan
I'm too lazy for that. Like I just go into exhibition and play, do whatever, and it's like, oh, there he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, that
even as
also,
a robot, he pisses me off, takes me off.
Honestly, that's one of the rare regimes that I've ever seen. I mean, there is so much potential. I firmly believe the 2019 team, had it stayed healthy with any other coach, would have beaten the Chiefs and honestly been undefeated at that point. Like, oh my word. It was just ridiculous.
The golf club boys. That's what I refer to Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn as. I mean, they're in the golf club just sipping iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what they're not doing. Winning football games.
Very true.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't. We don't know. He roasted our own team. Don't
I hate his pencil. Oh my god! Oh, that pencil. That's why I write in pen, because of that man. I see a pencil, I break it.
Jeez, John's just developed such a hatred for Matt Patricia that he just does it the opposite. Matt Patricia buys a cheeseburger at McDonald's. John's gonna get a hamburger.
I almost got rid of this because I saw Matt Patricia video and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna look like Patricia. I might have to get rid of this. I had to really fight to keep this just because of him. That's how much I can't stand that man.
Much therapy and work. Rest screwed us the Chiefs game. Yeah, that Anthony Hitchens play was. Why was it Hitchens in both times? Anthony Hitchens was in the PI game and the Chiefs game, and then the PI against Dallas.
I just went over to the YouTube side of it, and I noticed that we have a dislike on the video, and I am willing to bet.
I saw that a while ago. I wasn't going to say anything. Whatever.
I know who gave us the dislike.
Was it Funky? It's
gotta be, dude. Come on.
No way.
Funk, why you hating, man? Why you hating Funkster?
Because I just asked him to be civil.
He thinks I'm his arch nemesis for some reason.
I don't know. Well, like I just asked him to be civil because he called I think he called Rams House like a slappy or a golf slap.
The other day or whatever.
He had a lot of nice choice words for me.
Yeah. It was pretty great, and he thought that won the argument.
Yeah, I stumbled upon that on Discord at lunch. I was going through. I'm like, what the heck happened?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I've also had a lot of good conversations with Funky. I like the guy normally, but I guess he just didn't like that. All really happened. I was actually copying and pasting Rams House responses on Discord and saying this is his response.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And then he just got triggered at me when I just said, "Hey, please be civil towards him," instead of like insulting him. And then he's like, "I'm leaving your channel." I'm like, "Oh, okay, bye, I guess." But
he'll be back. He'll be back.
Just like in Hamilton, sir. Don't hate the funk man. I don't hate the funk man.
I don't hate
hate here, no dislike.
It's just funny.
I think funk's cool.
So
Like him in the comments.
Agnew becoming a GM. Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, he's following in the same footsteps of Brad Holmes, so it wouldn't surprise me at all.
We're going to have a lot of coaches that we have that are gone. I mean, Deuce Daly left to come here, and he's going to get noticed. Like, we are going to have a lot of personnel gone in the next couple of years. That's why I said I'd like them to stay for at least 3 years.
Do you think that the Lions are going to turn this thing around in the next 2 seasons?
Yes, I do, firmly.
Yeah.
As long as they keep drafting the way they have.
As long as they keep doing what they're doing, yeah.
They're going to lose a bunch of coaches. That's just how it works.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I mean, with those coaches, and we start winning, what's going to happen? Players are going to want to start to come to Detroit. It's not going to be, we want to avoid Detroit because it's the end of a career. It's going to be, look at what they're doing. So we will gain players, lose coaches, and other coaches will want to come here. I think it'll be just the same thing over and over again now, only on a good note.
Wait. I don't understand. Why are people saying we got the funk? We got the funk.
I was just being playful, I think.
Oh, okay. I was like, he's here. Yeah, I just think Ray Agnew. I honestly just think our entire front office was looking really good at. Especially if you watch the Inside the Den video, that communication, like unity, you all saw in there was fantastic.
Did you guys catch the clip in there where I want to say it was Brad Holmes was trying to whisper, cover up the mic, and talk to Sheila about the running back or the wide receiver for a second? Like, I mean, it was quick too. Like, he was trying to not be noticed and muffled, just bit. Yeah,
that's okay. Well, and they all just seemed to know what they were doing. Like, they all communicated, said this. One of my favorite things was they said they showed them the video of them saying, "Hey, we want this guy." For example, Campbell said, "I'm leaning towards the Washington end," and then they ended up getting Levi, and it was like a steal. And then they're like, "Is it possible that we can get
kid from NC State?"
Yeah, the kid from NC State, and they got him, and it was crazy. And so,
what's crazy is I said something about McNeil in a video like 2 months prior to the draft, and after we got him about a week later, someone in the comments was like, "Dude, are you from the future? You nailed it." I'm like, I just happened to see something, and I hashtagged the Lions. I was like, "Look at him, please."
Yeah. Well, and then even then, they also talked about Amon-Ra. For example, when they said, "Why are we drafting McNeil?" They're like, Dorsey said, "We still got the USC kid." And not only did they get Iffy, but then they also got Amon-Ra. Those people, they had their entire draft planned out by the looks of it, and got their top players without having to trade up or back or anything. That's a fantastic draft. Like, it didn't look like they ever missed out on anyone. Then they went ahead and were like, "We're gonna get Derek Barnes," and they got Derek Barnes. It was great.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Barnes can do. He's got that classic number 55 like Junior Seau. I'm looking to see him bust some quarterbacks in the mouth and take out a running back or two.
I'm looking up this song. We got the funk real quick. We got the
Is that
funk.
what that is a song?
Yeah, we got.
Oh, okay. Apparently it is a song. My friend here's telling me that it is a song over here.
Y'all are. It came out in 1980. You guys are a little too young for that.
I'm from '86, so.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yep.
You're
I know you wouldn't think I'm that old.
You look young. You look young.
I got the good genetics. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Wherever you are. Yep. 1986. I'm a long-time Lions fan. 1995 is when my fandom started.
That just sounds so disco.
It is disco.
He's over there just bobbing and weaving. All we need is a disco ball for you. Just put it in the background. That can take out your lighting issue. Just put a disco ball back there.
Oh yeah.
I said the Bengals were gonna take Chase the whole time, and I as opposed to other people, I don't fault them for it. I think there's no chance the Bengals didn't consult with Burrow and say, "Hey, bro, do you want us to go tackle or do you want to get your guy?" They had some amazing chemistry in college, and it just wouldn't surprise me for just be like, yeah, let's just go get Chase. Because they could build offensive line other ways, too. They could go get free agents and trades, stuff like that.
Well,
But
they did
getting
that
a
in the
guy-
second round. The Bengals went and got a tackle in the second round.
But getting a guy like Chase, who it's not just that he was the number one receiver. He also was the number one target
chemistry.
for your quarterback for a long time.
Yeah.
Like it matters.
It makes sense in a way. And I mean, they were talking about that before when that whole rumor came out about him saying, "Go get my quarterback from college." It makes sense. He's got chemistry, so why not help him out?
Actually, I think it's the opposite. So I'm down by where one Pride 40s is talking. I think it was the opposite from inexperience. Well, kind of inexperience, but I think it was just more overzealousness and excitement. Like he found the guy that he thought was going to transform the Detroit Lions, and he wanted to do whatever it took to get him. For both guys, I think he was like, look, Penei Sewell was going to be the cornerstone of this offensive line for the next 15 years.
He said it when he was on the phone with them.
Yes.
And then said it when he was on the phone with them. You're going to be the cornerstone. You're going to be what we build around on this team. Are you ready to be a Lion?
I don't think they made a mistake passing on Sewell. I think making your quarterback is important. Making your quarterback comfortable is important. And if he thinks that having Chase with him is going to be the best thing for him in his development, I don't fault him for that. I think they will find other ways to build up the O-line.
And they've got weapons there.
Yeah, I mean,
they've got weapons. That's going to be an interesting game to watch, the Lions and Bengals, especially if all the receivers and weapons in Cincinnati are healthy against our secondary, which is kind of suspect. And that might be a little dangerous.
Your secondary is theoretically suspect. Now, there's two things that you need to take into account. First of all, Tracy Walker is about to have a breakout season. Second of all, Jeffrey Okudah is about to be a first-round
I'll take a double order of that.
Corner. But most importantly, and this is what Brad Holmes learned with the Rams last year, because people thought our secondary wasn't going to be very good. All we had was Ramsey and John Johnson and question marks. But when you stop the run and you have enough to get after the passer, your secondary doesn't need to be otherworldly. It just needs to be good enough. And he learned that lesson. The Rams were the number one defense in football, and we did that by stopping the run. First and foremost, we stopped the run. Which when you stop the run, guess what happens? It's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 instead of 3rd and 2. Changes the entire dynamic of the football game. And Brad Holmes learned that lesson with the Rams. And Aaron Glenn learned that lesson with the Saints, because the Saints are a run-stopping team as well, historically. They're not obviously every year good, but that seems to have been the focus of the Saints historically. So, I think it's invaluable how much of a difference stopping the run will make for Jeffrey Okudah and for the other guys on that team. I think it's going to be huge. If you watch Okudah's college film, that boy is talented. The idea
he got an interception sitting on his butt.
Well, that's more of luck, but he's talented.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's kind of cool. Yes, luck.
Taylor,
just like those 10 interceptions that one safety got. Right time, right place.
All right, gentlemen. It's been 2 hours and 7 minutes, so I guess we gotta kind of finish up the question. Yeah, so I got some stuff I gotta be doing soon, so I guess I guess we'll answer this last little question about the Bengals, and then I guess we'll be done here.
Sounds good.
What do you guys think will happen between the Lions versus Bengals?
That's going to be...
The Lions are going to win. It's a question.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just...
Our O-line versus their wide receivers is kind of the interesting thing to me, but I mean...
I also think we have a better defense.
I think there's a solid chance they get overwhelmed, and if Okudah is able to start to play like the player he should be, him and Chase's battles are going to be legendary, and they're going to be quality to watch.
And I mean, what is that, week 6?
Well, I think we've also... Yeah. Well, I think the thing is people forget is we have Quinton Dunbar, we have Amanio, and we have some good secondary places.
Amanio Warrior we have.
Yeah, I just call him Amanio. I can't say his last name.
That's okay.
But yeah, the only player I'm really concerned about is Will Harris in the slot corner position. It's looking like Mike Ford is outshining Corn Elder and AJ Parker. So
yeah, I thought Corn Elder was supposed to be good for us.
Yeah.
What's the other safety you guys got that's been hyped up quite a bit? I think he has
Dean Marlowe.
Dean Marlowe. So that's actually something the Rams did and the New Orleans Saints did in the past, is where they've actually brought in a third safety to play the nickel position. And I wouldn't be surprised to see DeMarlo. I've heard good things about him. I haven't watched a lot of film on him, but I've heard good things about him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing some nickel, nickel cornerback position too.
But Lions over Bengals. That O-line is our O-line is no match.
I think
just don't stand it. The Bengals defensive line doesn't stand a chance. That's just me.
Do Lions fans as a whole still think it's? I mean, seeing the way the offseason is going, do Lions fans not think that an 8-win season to 10-win season is a possibility?
It's very divided, honestly.
And no one's guaranteeing it. But when teams go from last to first, generally there's a massive overhaul in coaching quality and the trenches. So you have the building pieces in place to have a worst to first season. Certainly, if Aaron Rodgers leaves, I think it's likely.
Aaron Rodgers leaves, Lions. NFC North, we are in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. It was an awesome blast. You're welcome, sir. Make sure you guys check out John Rams. I couldn't find your video game channel. I would put it in the description, but yeah. So make sure you guys have a blast, and see you guys later.
Have a good night, gentlemen.